Welcome back to the Engineering for the New Reality podcast series, where we're talking to our engineers and leaders on the various challenges and opportunities that this pandemic has brought about. Today, we're going to demystify one of the most talked about topics. I'm talking about artificial intelligence. There's this huge halo around artificial intelligence that it would take our jobs, it will make humans redundant, that it is the panacea for all our problems. But is that really true? Today, we're going to look at what AI really does and the increasingly critical role that it can play in this new normal. And who better to talk about this than our Chief Technology Officer, Ashish Khushu. Hi Ashish, welcome to the podcast. How you doing?
Hi Akshay, thank you for having me here. Doing well, and I hope you're safe and sound as well.
Absolutely, Ashish. Thank you so much. So, for all our listeners, if you could explain what really is AI and why is it becoming increasingly important in this new virtual era?
Thanks Akshay for the question. Interesting question, and if we see it from the point of view that we have, I believe that as products across different industries, medical, transportation, off-highway, commercial, consumer electronics, home appliances, as more of these products are getting onto the network, they are exchanging information with each other. They're exchanging information with various stakeholders. There is an increase in the type of data that is getting generated. Now, if you're going to have a humongous amount of data that is going to get generated every time a device is on a network, somebody needs to make sense of what this data is all about. And that's where analytics comes in. And analytics has been there for the last so many decades, so it's not a new phenomenon. AI is just is just a technology which works at a layer much above what data analytics does, and it gives you a far better understanding and insights into meaningful data and helps you make better decisions. So it's becoming important for us because of the need to manage the type of data, get relevant data out of the humongous amount of data that we have and make sense of that data, either for figuring out what's happening or to forecast what probably may happen so that you could better utilize that information for whatever purpose that you would like to apply. So it's from that perspective, it's a tool, it's a technology which will make us handle the type of challenges this type of vast connectivity will enable.
So, Ashish, building on what you just said, could you talk to us about a few exciting use cases that have shown up in the past few months, especially in the manufacturing and industrial sector? And what are the things that businesses will have to do differently that can be enabled by AI?
Akshay, I'll take the second part of the question first. If you have to go ahead and see how do we utilize AI in whatever business that we are in, we first have to ensure that we have a very robust technology infrastructure which is connected, whatever is available or can be connected in an industry or a plant or a manufacturing organization, that we are capturing data, that the connections are robust, they are secure, and that we have a good grip on the type of data that these assets are generating, whether it is products, whether it is manufacturing lines, whether it is CAD data, whether it is supplier data, vendor data, warehousing, logistics data, the works. Only after you have a technology infrastructure which is capturing all possible data that is involved around your business in a digital format, and you're bringing that data into a central pool of a data lake, as they call it, or some place in a data center, private or a cloud, where you have this data available. Do you then go ahead and apply modern technologies like AI to make sense of that data and establish correlations between different aspects of data to achieve the purpose that you have? Now you have broadly speaking, you have two type of industries. One is those set of people who have already got this technology infrastructure in place. They have data available, and if they have data available, we can go ahead and start looking at how we could leverage AI to make sense of that data. But then there is that part of the industry which is still not connected. So you have to go through a phase or a journey of connectivity, generating data, figuring out what is the type of insights that you need. Now this is not an overnight journey. This takes some time. This will happen over a period of time. So our message to our customers and other stakeholders always has been that AI is not going to solve a problem overnight. It has to be a part of your digitizing strategy. If you're going to digitize your operations and you're going to digitize your manufacturing or you're going to digitize your entire business, the legitimate usage of AI will come at a later part when this connectivity and data generation are taken well care of and they are fairly robust, stable, and secure. So it's a journey. It's not something that somebody can just get up early in the morning and say, okay, let's apply AI and let's get going. This won't happen. Coming back to what is the most interesting use case, the most interesting use case that people are trying to solve, and as you're aware that we have a chief innovation officer, Mr. Bhate, he has a set of people who are working on this. We are trying to see how do we utilize AI to figure out whether a patient has COVID-19 or not. Now, this is the most interesting use case that many other colleagues and stakeholders from the industry are trying to solve. I must tell you that we are one of the early ones who've been trying to do it. Again, here, the challenge is not the model. The challenge is the availability of the COVID-19 X-rays. So while the model has been built to take care of other infectious diseases, we are trying to figure out how do you make this model more robust. And to make this model more robust, we need X-rays of COVID-19 patients. Only 650 to 700 were available on a public site. Governments are not willing to release it yet due to privacy issues. So once we have more X-rays of COVID-19 patients being made available to us, then over a period of time, maybe another 3 or 4 months, we would reach accuracy levels of prediction which could help doctors predict in a much faster span of time whether the patient has COVID-19 or not. So this is a one interesting use case which has consumed the industry right now.
You know, Ashish, one of the issues that a lot of companies face when it comes to AI or any next generation technology is change management and management buy in, right? So, how should companies go about building a case for change? And what are the main stakeholders to go after?
Actually, that's a very interesting question because, we when we talk to our customers or other partners who are wanting to dabble or experiment with AI, this type of question comes up very often. What is my ROI? How soon can I get my returns on investment that I make in AI? The other question is, who will do it for me? I will build my own team, or why should I? Why should I not go and invest in creating a team which will have AI skills, etc., etc. A couple of things need to be understood in this discussion, and one of them is that, as I said earlier, we should not look at AI as anything which is very different than a normal roadmap of technology implementation. For example, first went for PCs. We didn't go and create a team which will create PCs for us. We didn't go and say, I will buy a PC and I want a ROI tomorrow or day after. We know it leads to productivity gains, but it's over a period of time that this model gets implemented or gets tested, efficiencies or etc. From PCs, then we went to applications, and then applications to implementing databases, Excel sheets, databases, ERP systems, and then we went in for IoT, connected our homes, our offices. And all through this journey, we do know that technology has benefits, immediate benefits in terms of speed of response, immediate benefit in terms of efficiencies, but it takes perhaps a few days or weeks or months in some cases when you can very clearly establish an ROI of using a technology in any domain. Now you keep extending this argument, and when as you have gone around this in technology infusion into your organization, you've not gone and created teams which would take care of these technologies and who are creating these technologies for you. You've gone to partners, you've gone to product companies, you've leveraged outsourcing model. The same needs to be looked at when it comes to AI. AI gives you the power to make sense of humongous amount of data. Now, let me give you an example, and I try to give this example to many. When I started my career, a customer would, and I started it in India, so a customer would look forward to having a discussion with me because he didn't have information, and the only source of information about anything to do with technology would be a person like me, a sales guy or a solution guy who had access to a manual, and we would take that manual, we would Xerox that manual. So he didn't have information. So I used to take the relevant information to him. He would sit with me, look at the specs of the software, look at the specs of the server, look at the specs of the plotter, look at the specs of what the software network, etc., could do for him. There was a deficit of information, so I was relevant. We have a similar situation today. We have too much of information. He still needs me because I want to. He doesn't want all that information. He only wants relevant information. So I'm still important. I was important when there was no information because I was a source for relevant information when he had deficit of information available. Today, again, I'm a source of importance for him because I'm a source for relevant information when he has too much of information around him. AI does that for you. AI is a mechanism or a tool which will enable you to make sense out of the data that everything around you in business or at home is creating. Humongous amount of data is getting created when you have products and when you have appliances connected on the network. Now, you don't want to know everything. You want to know only what is important for your business. You want to know when your asset will fail, or you want to monitor when your employees are coming or your employees are going. You want to be red flagged on what is the projections of your business. You want to be you would like to have an highlight of what's critical and what is not critical. To get to that insight in a faster manner, in a quicker manner, is what AI can enable. So we have to go undertake the journey of AI adoption in the similar manner in the way we have done it in the past. Look for partners, look for product companies, work with an ecosystem of stakeholders who will help you undertake that journey. The return on investment will happen. It perhaps will take a few months or a quarter, but the journey has to be the same. The way you have adopted other technologies, the same model has to be applied when it comes to AI. So the change management here has to be from the perspective of going back and being convinced that the adoption of AI is just a very normal next level, a natural next level of technology evolution. It's nothing which is so out of place as we believe it is. So it does not really require anything out of the way for you to go ahead with.
That's a great analogy, Ashish. Thank you. So, once there is management buy in, how should companies go about engineering their AI program? How should they split their investments between designing the right use cases, creating algorithms, and then building the core AI technology as well?
Let's take an example of an automotive company or an industrial product company or an FMCG company. Their core business is creating their products. They understand their industry the best. They understand their products the best. They understand their consumers the best. They should focus on what is the type of information that they need, which will help them make better decisions, faster decisions, increase efficiencies, and help them reduce cost and capture what the customers want in real time. That is what we should be defining. Let the customers and the people who want to use AI not bother about AI, but bother about what is it that they're trying to solve. And if they know that this is what we want to solve, then they should involve their technology partners and technology service companies like us to figure out how do we come and how do we work out architecture, a process, a methodology, etc., etc. That's a very, very simple way. I just can't start by saying, oh, I have to implement AI, so I'm going to go discover a use case. That's of no use. AI does not solve anything. AI is only a mechanism to help you get better insight into the problem areas that you have. Now, it was not available to us. It was not. It was available, but it was very expensive. Now it is commoditized. It is very cheap to apply. So therefore, go back. Now let's go to these companies with which you do, online purchases, or Book My Show, or any one of these e-com portals, or when you see OTT content. All these companies have built in a very basic recommendation engine, which captures your profile, which captures the areas of interest that you've expressed through your clicks. Now, you may have an area of interest in books, but if you're not going to go to their websites and look at books, but you're looking at movies, they will think, they don't know that books is also what is your area of interest. They build a recommendation model based on your interaction with their website. Now, if you've gone and chosen a certain type of a shoe or a t-shirt, or watched a certain type of movie, you will you may note that outcome, those pop-ups on the screen, or on the website, or on your emails or your SMSs, which say like, look, if you've bought this, you may also want to consider this. Or if you've bought shoes of a certain kind, these are the shoes on which there are discounts. So now these are insights that are enabled through use of these type of technology. So I think what we should be focused on, or a customer should be focused on, is the use case. And to reach that use case, we did not have the wherewithal of applying AI technologies about 5 years back, but now we have. Customer partners like us, technology services companies like us, or product companies will now, whenever building a technology architecture or a solution architecture, would inevitably incorporate AI as a part of an approach which will help address the use case. So I think we should go from a use case perspective and not technology up.
And in your experience, how much time is taken in designing use cases versus building the core technology?
That's a very, very important question, because in some cases where there is no data available, it's very difficult to apply AI day one. As I said, as I said in the beginning, till you do not have enough data, you will not be able to build a highly predictive model. You will not be able to give the type of data insights that you want. Now, in a particular case, which we will cover later, for example, predictive modeling, or in a case where we wanted to build a model which said a percentage of silica had to be a model which would have predicted the quality of iron ore extraction. You can build models, but the models will be good, or will be as good as the data that has been made available to these models for them to learn and figure out whether the algorithms that you've written to predict or to make those calculations or give you the insights that is required are good enough and accurate. Now that is the key. So if there is enough data available, we could have a situation where within 2 to 3 months of developing a model, we could have accuracy, prediction accuracy, which could go up to 95% or 95% plus. But if you don't have that, then you have to collect data, and that process could be 3 months, 6 months, or even 9 months, as we have seen in a few cases.
So let's talk a little bit about skill sets, because people feel that working on AI requires exceptional talent and knowledge. So what are your views on this?
Actually, I think the way we have to look at it is from a much larger, broader perspective. Look, we've created a huge service industry in India based on our ability to train, skill, and ramp up people. And we've been able to achieve scale. We had a similar problem when we first went in and said, look, what happens to the Y2K problem? A similar problem when the net economy started booming. Just about 6-7 years back, in this country, there was no great work happening on automotive electronics. Just about 7 years back, there's no great work happening in this country on OTT or video technologies. With the scale, or at a scale that was required. But today you look, almost every company, every engineering company or every engineering services company or IT services company is more than enough people who understand what infotainment is all about from a car perspective. They understand aerospace technologies, they understand video technologies, they understand video monitoring technologies, we understand sensors, we understand data analytics, we understand big data. So I don't think that's really too much of a problem. Similarly, today, if you look at the number of people in this country who are working on AI, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So we don't have a surfeit of talent here. Our innate strength lies in our ability to learn a new technology and in a very programmatic manner uh, build up, scale, and ramp up the number of people who are available for this deployment. So I don't think it is something that is that's a cause of worry or should be a cause for worry for anybody.
Great. So thank you, Ashish, for that fascinating perspective. I think it gives us all a much clearer picture on what AI really is and how we can go about implementing it in a large, complex organization. And to all our listeners, we hope you found this edition of our podcast insightful. To get access to the other episodes of our Engineering for the New Reality podcast series, including a special episode on the LTTS Industrial AI platform, do visit our website at www.ltts.com. Thank you and have a great day.